SABC News reporter Mbalenhle Mthethwa is on the story. A very good afternoon to Mbalenhle. Just take us through where you are and what's happening now.
Good afternoon, Zinga. I am still in Alexandra, where we saw an affected family earlier on today. We understand that one of the houses there has actually cracked. We know that the wall that was separating the home and the river actually collapsed late last night, and we saw the frame in the water and the last remains of that gate in the Yuske River. Though that is not the only house that has been affected. We are with disaster management officials who are on a tour, just walking around to see the extent of the damage. Where we're standing right now, we're standing on a place where it was also flooded, and the water had actually gone up and was flooding the area here. It seems to have settled down, but the reason that this part of Alexandra is not as affected as the home just a few meters away from where we're standing is that they had actually made a decision to get one of these refuse collectors or these companies that actually drop off rubble to come and drop off sand and rubble here in order to prevent the river from actually overflooding and flowing into their homes. We understand that in one particular year, there were around 4 cars that were actually flooded away during that period when the river bank was actually full and the water went into residential areas. I'm actually here to speak to one ward councillor who's going to give us a sense of what came out of a meeting that took place between themselves as ward councillors, as well as some of the emergency services that are here. We understand that the department, an official from the Department of Housing is also here. So we're just trying to get a sense of what came out of that meeting. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Marema. Talk to us about what has happened. What came out of that meeting, and if you are indeed pleased with what came out of that meeting. We saw a little bit of disagreement between yourselves and some of the officials. It seemed as though to a certain point there was some rejection on your part as ward councillors of what was coming out of that meeting. We heard a few exchanges. Talk to us about what came out of that, out of Marema.
No, I think that officials came here to spectate to the situation. They did not really come here to offer solution, and it's not like there is no solution. As I stand here and speaking to you, I know that there is 10 million budgeted on capital expenditure to do gabions on this very same area. This has been done on all the budgets that have been coming since 2017. To date, nothing has happened. Nothing is being implemented. The first week of December, I sat in one meeting and I questioned about this thing. And I know this is not my ward, but I was making an example about this specific area that we've got 10 million budgeted for, and we are now halfway through to the next budget. Why are we not spending that money to do those gabions there? Why are we not rehabilitating the river? Why are we not enforcing bylaws so that people don't put shacks around and nearby the Jacks-K? It seems as if things are just falling apart and officials are just there to spectate.
So there was talk of tents. Yes. Talk to us about why we're talking about tents, because we know that people have been asked to move to higher areas and relocate, given what's happening so far, and the fear of more rains, given the fact that, we've had these rains, continuous rains.
There's 4 families that are now in an immediate danger. If we don't remove those people there, I'm telling you something bad is going to happen. In fact, I don't even recommend that they go into their houses. The issues of tent, where are we going to put those tents? It's just another question. In Alex, land, it's a commodity. It's something that is very expensive. It's not even there. It's something that you can't find except in the road. So where are we going to erect those tents? And for how long are those tents going to be there? And are people going to be there? Housing should have this. It is in their policy, a temporary relocation accommodation for people in terms or in cases of disaster. That's what we want.
So I also overheard you speaking to one housing official talking about the fact that these are registered homeowners and these are not shack dwellers that have been affected by this situation. And what is the way forward? What is the official from that department saying?
These are the people who are paying revenues. These are registered under the city of Johannesburg. These are housing stock. Housing department must do something about it. It can't be that they come here and say they don't have a plan. These are lives of the people. Human right, basic human right for our people that we need to actually deal with. Only 4 people that you need to remove out of imminent danger, and you're coming to tell our people that you have no plan. That's unacceptable. At least we need to find a way, even if it means that we can have to take them to some sports and recreation center for time being. But a plan must be there. Coordinated effort from all departments, including your JRA and other departments, must be there. But for an official to come here, and they're sending us junior officials, people who can't take decisions when life of the people are at stake there. Why didn't you just bring in a regional director? You are just bringing me a person who is equal to a cleaner to come here and make an assessment. Who is going to take those decisions now?
Okay, so was this the reason why we overheard conversations, what looked like an exchange between yourselves and the officials,
yes, of course,
where we heard you people saying that, you know, we can't believe that this is the person that the department has sent through, the city of Johannesburg has sent through, and saying that you feel that you're not being taken seriously and your concerns are not taken seriously. And what we also heard is that they're saying that they're going to escalate the matter. I imagine that this is an issue a word you haven't heard for the first time.
No, look, it is not something that, even a person that doesn't understand how the city works can't take this report that we've been given serious. Because somebody comes here, and we all know that this rain is going to last towards New Year. But somebody is still telling us that many officials are on leave, we are still going to escalate this, when life of our people are at risk, imminent danger. There is no sense of agency. The mayor had already said that she is going to work throughout the Christmas and the festive season. We were expecting the mayor's office to be here. We were expecting an MMC to be here, people who take decisions. That is the same message I relay to the province, to say, you can't just be a by-the-way department there. You need to be here. You need to see how dangerous this thing is. Because this is not only lying onto the JRA, it's not only a JR issue. It's a GWS issue which lies at the national government, the province, and then the city. Now they're telling us that the city must say something, the city must come up with a plan. But the city is still telling us that they're still going to escalate. By the way, we are the ones now that are even talking to the sports and rec to get accommodation, alternative accommodation for these people. Not even the officials. The officials seems to know nothing about what. The only people that came here that I can tell you that they are at least going to help our people is the EMS, the emergency services. They've done an excelling job. We need to give credit where it's due. But the rest of these other people that are here, they want to be here just for the sake of them being here. They're not here to offer solution. They are here to even tell us of the problem that they see. We are aware of the problem. What we want is the solution right now. What we want is an immediate life-saving situation or solution to the imminent danger that we see there by the taxpayer and rate payers. Those people pay taxes, they pay rates. Those people are staying in the city, in the city's properties. The city must take ownership. The city must do something about that issue. These are not by pay or invaders, people who are there. And it is not only caused by those people. There are people who are dumping in this river, taking rubbles from the suburbs of Sandton and nearby to dump by Jacques K River there by Extension 7. And these have ripple effects as rains come through. Today we are where we are because nobody wants to take responsibility. Nobody wants to come into play and say, this is my responsibility, this is what I'm going to do going forward. And I'm very disappointed by that. Housing to start with. That is why I asked them that we move from here. They've done an assessment of who and how many people are affected. And I can tell you it's not going to even be accurate because they are only here where the danger has happened. There's so many people by Jacques K. We're going back to the office to speak to every office and every mayor, every MMC, so that they bring about a reasonable solution to the problem here.
Thank you so so much for speaking to us. That was Adolf Marema, who's a ward councillor here in Alexandra Township, talking to us about these challenges. You've heard him calling on the office of the Premier as well as the office of the Mayor, City of Johannesburg Mayor, to come in and try and at least help. He's saying that, you know, they were expecting the MMC for housing to actually come through and assess the situation and also just come up with a solution or make a decision with regards to, you know, what should happen to the family that is now facing imminent danger, as he put it. We understand that the house that he's particularly talking about is the one that I actually alluded to a little bit earlier, where the house is actually cracking, and we saw that the fence that was separating the house and the river actually collapsed and fell into the river. It seems as though a portion of that house could potentially fall into the river. We understand that our residents did explain that, you know, when the land falls into the river, it feels like it's an earthquake, and the whole yard is actually shaken and moved by the land falling into the river. We understand that the various ward councillors have spoken about the fact that there is a budget that is set aside to at least protect the riverbanks of the Uske River, but it seems as though nothing has happened. We understand also from the conversations that we've had with some residents that these issues have been in existence since as early as 2016 and even earlier than that, and they are now calling on officials to act and come with solutions. They are unhappy with the people who were sent through by the City of Johannesburg and by the various offices, including the Housing Department. They want more officials, higher ranking officials rather, to come in and make decisions who can make decisions on the spot and resolve the situation that people find themselves in this particular moment. We understand that there have been persistent rains during the festive season, and it seems as though the rain, as they say, is going to continue raining, and they are just concerned about what will become of those households and those families that are right here on the banks of the Uske River. It's back to you in studio.